Well, welcome everybody to the Professional Experts Podcast. Today we've got a really fun treat. Beth Robins, who is one of the newest certified professional experts, if not the newest, because we haven't actually presented that yet. She's with us today. She's a certified life skills trainer. She's a former actress on Broadway, musical theater. She's a fitness champion and a guru to others in many, many ways. And she's just a cool person to hang out with. And we get to do that right now. Beth, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Jim. I'm so glad I could be here today.
Where are
She's,
you located today?
I'm in Carlsbad, California.
Oh, you're in your home base area, Carlsbad, California. I used to live in La Jolla for 20 years and then at the San Diego and then in Thousand Oaks, which is also Southern California, for another 17 years. So you're in paradise, that's for sure.
I am. I'm a transplant from Chicago, so this is for
Woo,
me an
big,
upgrade to
yeah,
Illinois.
no kidding. And I'm looking at you and look like a healthy person who's got nothing detracting from that at all. Yet you have played 3 hours of
I
pickleball
did.
today.
I
Three.
am. I am fresh off the court.
I would think you'd be kind of hanging just a little bit.
I'm ready for more. That's the thing about pickleball. The joke is, okay, one more game. You're like limping. You got your back. Like, okay, guys, but just one more game. One more game.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
grand.
greatest thing I ever discovered. It's everything. It's social.
Yeah.
I'm very competitive, and so that it gets it out of me, so I can get on with the day. And it's my fitness, and it's just I don't know. When I moved here to California, I didn't know a single person except my realtor, who was
Wow.
25 years younger than I was. So it wasn't like we were going to hang out. And I unpacked my truck after I drove it across the country, and I rented a car and I went straight to the pickleball courts. I met some really fun people, and then I came back the next day and the next day. And the next thing I knew, I was spending 5 or 6 hours playing pickleball. And it was great. And COVID hit, and I got pulled back into teaching fitness on Zoom. So that was great because I learned how to operate Zoom.
Yep.
And then, I burned out, and I went back to pickleball, and I was like, there's just calling. There's something else I'm supposed to be doing. And it was a little chirp, and then it started like getting louder and louder until it was a baseball bat upside the head. That this is I need to be a life mastery consultant. At the time, I said I need to be a life coach,
Yeah.
and it was always kind of calling, and I'd look into it and I talk myself out of it. You don't have the education, got to go back to school, it's going to cost money, you got to. And so I had all those fear paradigms going, yeah, no,
The imposter syndrome elf.
exactly, just
Like,
get back on
you're
the
not up
pickleball.
for this. Yeah.
So and then finally it was just the stars aligned, everything was just right there, and I dove into the material, and I it was just became part of my DNA, and it's like this is what I went through alone for 10 years. I don't know if it was ignorance or pride or what it was, that I don't need a coach. I'll just read the books, I'll go to the seminars, I'll go to the summits, and I'll figure this out.
Hmm.
And you read a book and go, oh, I knew that, I already knew that. Well, if you knew it, you would have made a change in your life.
That's right. There's a line, I don't remember who said it. I always attribute it to Will Rogers. But the line is, if it's not affecting your actions, it's doubtful you believe it.
Mm. Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. If it's not affecting your actions, it's doubtful you believe it. That was, I think, my original quote. Oh,
Wow.
that's an insider's joke from the National
Okay.
Speakers Association. Cabot Robert, the founder of NSA, he said from the platform many times, he said, it's interesting. I've known so many of you speakers. He says, I've seen material over the years. Someone will say, well, as Beth Robins once said, and they'll quote you exactly. And then the second time they share that, they'll say, as somebody once said, and then the third time they'll say, like I've always said, and now it's progressive ownership of your material, right? He said, I don't encourage that, but that's what often happens.
That is funny. Wow. Well, I
Yeah.
probably down the road you don't remember who you heard it from. But you knew it
There
was
you
some.
go. Yeah. Well, if that's the thing, people say, I don't need a coach. Why do you not need a coach? Well, because I read a lot of books and excuse me, you mean you go to another source other than yourself and you take someone's wisdom and you study that, kind of like sitting with a coach, but on paper? Well, yeah, it's not the same. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Reading a book, this is an original copy of Think and Grow Rich,
I
or,
love it. Yeah.
any going to a seminar, going to a summit, you're just getting a coach in a different medium,
Right.
and the happy
They're not
news,
hol- they're not holding you accountable.
right?
So you're going and
That's the thing. That's what I wanted to get to. You go ahead and say that for the viewers because I was going to go the same
that's a
direction.
coach. A coach sees you, the bigger picture of you as a spiritual being having a human experience. And they give you action steps. And I mean, for me, I have you put in your calendar. Say, what action step can you take this week? And will you be willing to do that? And when will you have it done by? And now you're accountable. I wrote it down too. Okay, by Thursday afternoon, you will have made that phone call, or you will have signed up for the whatever, or and that's the accountability. And
Good for
that's
you.
no book, no seminar, no they're going to be like, okay, bye, thanks for coming.
Well, several years ago, at the top of the COVID experience, I reevaluated my own career. I'd done 3,500 speeches all over the world, and I'd written, now it's 27 books, but back then it was fewer. And I was thinking, okay, should I continue to promote myself as primarily a keynote speaker and an author? No. I want to be more involved with people, but I don't want to be a coach. That's a difference. I knew coaching. I'd done lots of it, and I'd been through coaching programs with others, but wasn't the model of what I wanted to do. So I bought some time from David Newman, who teaches people how to do online coaching and training and that sort of thing. But mostly it's online marketing of your skills and services. And David gave me some great ideas, and we went through about 8 weeks of training. And at the end of it, I decided I'm going to be, for the balance of my career, or at least the foreseeable balance of it, a mentor to experts. Because you can choose a mode like coach or speaker or whatever, but you also need to choose a market. Like in yourself, it's life skills, life mastery, and that includes fitness, and that includes performance, and that includes sports, and that includes, all kinds of things. Whereas mine, I wanted to work with people who were interested in a path similar to yours and mine. People who wanted to be the product of their business, and they were going to build a career or a business around what they were good at doing that was worth paying to get, right?
Mhm.
So I defined my market as professional experts. What is that? A professional expert is a coach, a consultant, a speaker, an author, a podcaster, an advisor, a specialist who sells their expertise as their primary product instead of selling microphones or something else that they might sell. So that was it for me. What's the difference between a mentor and a coach? I don't hold the people accountable. I serve as an advisor, a guide, a best friend on tap, a virtual vice president if their company retains me, right? So they can reach out to me anytime. And the difference is I refer them to someone like yourself when they want someone that's going to do the follow through and get into the details. So that's cool. I've got an alliance of people like Beth that makes the package complete.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's really whole collaborative. I seek you out as a mentor for me, um, but I feel like you hold me accountable anyway.
Yeah. Well, I do. It's just that I don't structure it. Um, I'd like for folks to know the path you followed to get into this, and not a full biography, but just, I spent X years doing this, I did that, I did that. These were the imprints that gave me the skill set, the mindset, and the awareness to do what I'm doing today. Could you walk us down that journey?
Absolutely. I was born at a very young age.
Were you?
I had a dream in my heart. When people ask you when you're a kid, what do you want to be when you grow up? I wanted to be a professional singer, dancer, actress, and I wanted to be an Olympic ice skater. Turns out I had skills in one, not the other. And I was blessed with a family that supported that. And I was singing professionally by the time I was 13. And studying with a vocal coach and everything, and went on, and I achieved what I wanted to achieve, and with great success. I got married young and therefore started a family young. And I remember I was singing at the Lyric Opera of Chicago, and spotlights on me, no problem. I'm singing away and I'm pregnant, but I haven't told the producer. And my son starts to move around. Well, I've never felt that before. And I was certain all the people in the audience saw that. And there was a moment, I know my eyes went, and I'm in the middle of send in the clowns, and there ought to be clowns, and there's one in my stomach, and what's going on, and freaking out. So I decided, okay, that's it. We're done here. And it really wasn't a mom job to be in showbiz, and
Oh,
you
yeah.
get midnight and your adrenaline is up here, and then you're like gonna crawl in bed, and no,
Yeah.
and the baby wants to get up at 5. And so anyway, I kind of put that up on a shelf with the high school and college yearbooks, and really threw myself into being the most supportive wife and mother that I could be. And that was great. But I started getting into the people please disease, the mayor of martyrdom. I'll do it. I'll do it. And I was the cook, the chauffeur, and the champion for everyone's dreams, my husband's dreams, my kids' dreams, my best friend's dreams, everyone but me.
Yeah,
And
suppressing your own dreams.
but a couple of decades of that, I started to lose me. I lost the essence of who I was, because I was facing a time when I could feel a looming divorce on the horizon. My kids were about to leave the nest. My yellow lab's barking his last bark. So I'm like, wow, the whole wife mother thing isn't who I am really anymore. I mean, I'll always be a mom, but not the
Sure.
kind, that you were. And I was in a deep depression. And I just remember just some dark days where I didn't see the blue skies. I didn't feel the air. I wasn't a part of life. I wasn't living. And I had to stop and push the pause button and say, wow, this is not you. I don't know how you let miserable become your normal. But I decided in that moment, and I think I was in my late 40s, that I'm going to start designing a life for me, doing things that I love, trying things I've never tried. That was a year of me jumping out of planes, jumping off of perfectly nice mountains,
Yep.
doing crazy things. I became certified as a rafting guide. I just started doing big things because I felt like I'd wasted. It wasn't wasting, but I just felt like time went on without the real me. And I knew I wasn't going to go back to singer, dancer, actress mode. So I had to find what it was. And I still had my personal training gym. That was my side hustle,
Mhm.
at mom. And and it was sustaining me, and it was keeping me sharp. I loved coaching. I loved the aha moments when people figured out an exercise, or they lost the weight, or whatever that was. That gave me life. I was just, oh my God, this is what I want to do. And that was the years that I started Googling around about life coach. And
Mhm.
maybe I could do this, because I felt like a glorified therapist. When you personal trainer, you're like a hairdresser. People, you come into the gym, it's just the two of us, and I get to hear everything that happened over the weekend. It's like, oh my gosh,
Like a bartender on a slow night. You're a counselor. Yeah.
untrained. It was
Yeah.
just coming from me. And I kept shoving it down. I kept shoving that dream down. And the analogy is kind of like it's a beach ball or a cork. And you can hold it down for so long, but it keeps coming back up.
Yep.
And for me, that beach ball was coming up faster and more aggressively
Hmm.
as on. And I moved to California, which was a dream.
By the way, that was very gutsy.
moving to
To just
California.
to just pull up roots and go to California.
I, I don't know.
Wow.
It was visceral reaction to San Diego when I was a little girl, and it was kind of a joke in our family that that's where I was going to end up.
By the way,
And
me too. In 1956, we drove Route 66 across country to visit Disneyland, which was brand new, 1 year old, and went with my uncle and my cousins to Disneyland, which was life changing, and Knott's Berry Farm and a few other things, but spent time in San Diego. And I always thought, this is paradise. I would someday I want to live here. And I still consider it the best place.
oh yeah, absolutely. And it's funny
Yeah.
that trip when I was 9, when I first saw the Pacific Ocean, the next day we went to Disneyland. So
Same
it's something.
thing, same age, different year, different era. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So that was my dream, was to come out here, and I don't know what I thought I was going to do. I thought I'd retire. Got into the pickleball world, and that was my life. And then there was a moment after COVID, and I went back to training online, and then yeah, it was just I don't know, the stars aligned. I remember seeing something, and I think it was in Facebook, about taking a life coach challenge for 5 days. And I was in Las Vegas at the time helping my best friend. She does PR for retired athletes who have causes, and
Oh,
help
good.
her. She gets them gazillion interviews through the week before Super Bowl, and I kind of wrangle them around and make sure they get where they're supposed to be on time.
That's a
And
pretty,
yes, it's a great fun side thing. But it's a long days,
yeah,
12-hour days. And
yeah.
then I would go back to my hotel and I'd take this challenge because I missed it during the day. So I'd have to rewatch all the videos, do the homework. And every day I'd show up for my Super Bowl gig just 5 feet taller, just like,
I
whoa, this
love
is
it.
really life-giving. This is making me feel expansive. And by the end of the summit, they're like, so if you think this is for you, sign up for a call. And I was like, beep, 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 beep. And this poor girl, she's like telling me about the certification, and I had already decided, and she had to go through her spiel. I'm like, you know what? I have a really busy day. Where do I sign? How much is it? What's the investment? I'm
There's the
in.
buy now button. Yeah. Click.
You don't give
Yeah.
me the spiel. I'm in. I'm your best client. So jump in day one. It was like, this aligns with me. It's Mary Morrissey and the Brave Thinking
Oh,
Institute.
yeah.
And I just was like, this is this is where I'm supposed to be. This felt like home from day one. And all the things that I kind of did through my on my own, the books I read, the summits and the webinars and all of that, and just me trial and error, getting it took me 12 years to get to that point. And she codified it and made it make sense. And it's like, oh my gosh, if I would have known you 12 years ago, I would have been a life mastery consultant 10 years
Yeah.
ago.
By the
So
way, do you know Michael Graham from Westlake Village? He's a former SWAT officer from Santa Monica Police Department, and he's also an actor and has been in a number of movies, one of which is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
okay.
Yeah, and he's a CPE. He's a dear friend. He lives in Westlake Village.
Okay.
And
Wow.
he went through Mary Morrissey's training as well just recently. And I used to live at Sherwood Country Club in Thousand Oaks, California. And one day Mary came to Sherwood and had lunch with me there at the country club.
Gosh,
So I've known her at arm's length for quite a while, but I respect and admire her work.
she's amazing. I have 2 opportunities this year with a lot of one-on-one time traveling. I'm going to be traveling to Boston to kind of the Mecca with Ralph Waldo Emerson and on all the studies that she got from him, and we get to go
Wonderful.
and be there with her hand in hand. So I'm super excited about that. But that going through this course, it just aligned so deeply with me that this is exactly how I want to coach other people. And I, every time there's another level I can go, I'm the first one. Yes. How can I?
Let's skip forward on your path to
Yes.
what's your day-to-day practice now? What are you doing, say in a typical month? What kind of things fill your business now? for you?
Right now, I also have the pleasure of working with Les Brown, and
Yeah.
the mindset that he taught me is practice every day. Practice your speaking. Get on podcasts, get out in front of people and share your message because it's a powerful message. And so every day I practice something, whether it's 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, whatever I have time for. I am researching all the time. And because I'm coaching, I re-go through the material prior to meeting with my clients each day. So
Hmm.
I'll watch the videos, I'll go through the lessons, and every time it inspires a new idea, a new thought for me. And I'm always writing. So I also have time in the day where I'm trying to write another chapter, something that inspires me. But that inspiration has to come with the practice of how I start my day. And that I don't use an alarm clock anymore. I wake up and it's gratitude time. It's going through all the things I'm grateful for.
What a
Um,
perfect way to start a day.
is and a funny story is there was a day where I was doing like 3 Zoom interviews in a row, and my internet went down, and it came on minutes before the first one, and I thought, oh my gosh, I forgot to be grateful for the internet. So
Yeah.
now spiritual things that I'm grateful for, and then I go, and the internet.
Exactly.
Oh,
By the way, I consider gratitude to be spiritual magnetism
absolutely.
because I've observed, like you have, obviously, that when you're grateful, you tend to attract more of what you're grateful for. And when you're generically grateful, you tend to notice more opportunity. They say they're optimist and pessimist, and then there's a group of people said, I'm neither. I'm a realist. Those are the pessimists that won't admit it, because they always look at the limits, the realists and the pessimists. But the optimists, like you and me, we look at the same reality and we don't deny the reality. We say, okay, and somewhere, somehow, there's a way. May not be worth it. I might choose to say, nope, not that one. But somewhere, somehow, there's a way to whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. And a grateful heart will attract not only the thing you're seeking, but also other people because you're vibrating at a level that's making other people, I want more of that. Right.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it makes you aware or conscious of, you notice more opportunity
Yeah.
and more things to be grateful for, even still.
That's tool number one in brave thinking is notice what you're noticing. And
Yes.
you can notice your thoughts that are vibrating at a very low frequency, that they tend to be negative. Uh, Take a pause, notice that, change the channel, because if you want to vibrate up here, you're not going to tune into it down here. And just
Exactly.
taking that pause, notice what you're noticing and adjust.
There's a woman here in Austin named Maura Thomas, and she's an author, but she's more than that, a specialist in the field that's typically known as time management. And she says you can't manage your time, which is obvious, but you can manage what you do with your time. And that's the way most people approach it. That's not how she approached it. She says, I want to talk with you about attention management because what you pay attention to is what consumes your time. And if you can manage what you're noticing, as you would put it, then managing the noticing allows you to focus your attention where you want it to be.
Where attention goes, energy flows.
Yep, that's good. I love rhymes like that. Muhammad Ali built a career off of two things: his boxing skill and discipline, and his ability to rhyme things so that everybody'd always remember. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
That's right.
Yep. So what's next for you? What's on your horizon?
Horizon is this is a year of expansion for me. So I am coaching, I am speaking, and I'm writing. So I'm doing all three because I feel like they interweave each other.
They
Um,
do. They're all self-expression.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I plan to reach 10,000 souls in whatever way that is. And if I reach 10,000 souls by July 1st, then it's going to be a million souls. I want to play big this year
Yeah.
and just expand my brand as a coach, an author, and a speaker.
How do you present yourself brand wise? What's your uh, phrase or statement or symbol or whatever?
There's a few. There's a catchphrase. There's far more power within you than any situation, circumstance, or condition that you find yourself in. And I borrow
Mhm.
that from the beautiful Mary Morrissey. But there's so much truth in that that we beat ourselves down and with our self-limiting beliefs about
Mhm.
ourselves that aren't necessarily the truth. They're just thoughts that you kept thinking long enough that they became your beliefs. They're well-worn grooves in your brain. And when you can notice what you're noticing and notice that you're feeling that about yourself, that's the pause and change the channel. And if I can achieve where I have achieved at my age, anyone can. And you just have to believe. I have these bands I give out that says I believe on one, and my signature is Carpe Diem, and that's since freshman year of Latin school, where I first learned
Seize
what
the
carpe
day. Yep.
and and really you know it's not just a phrase for me. It's a way of life. It's every morning you wake up with a choice and a chance to make a difference in your life and to choose love as always the answer. And that's part. And I just wrote a book that is launching a week from Friday, so March 14th.
What's the
And
title?
the title is Make Your Life a Beautiful Story: Life Lessons I Learned from My Mother. And the title came from a signature talk that I gave. And all of that came from Les Brown in a conversation in a parking lot where he said, "This is the title of your story. This is the title of your book." And
Oh, I love that.
it was very profound. And he gave me a very short window to write this speech, record it, and give it to him. And it was over 4th of July weekend. And I canceled everything. And I spent the weekend with the spirit of my mother and really dug deep on some beautiful memories that I had that applied to the lessons that I give when I coach and when I speak. And and I never realized how deeply they affected me until I spent the time to dig them out. And Les just kept saying, just go with it, and stories are going to pour out of you. And some are going to be funny, some are going to be sad, but they're all things that all people can relate to
I
in
love
their own.
Make your life a beautiful story.
Yeah.
That's a great sentiment. I love also that, when you wake up, you've got a choice and a chance. And that's very catchy and memorable. And it also, when I think of it, it makes me think upon awakening, I I can mold this. Here it is, sun's up, my body seems to be working, my mind appears to be functioning too. What could I do with this day to make it really worth having passed through this day, lived this day? Years ago, I had a guy come to me for 2 days of coaching, and it was really almost like clinical therapy coaching. His name was Tom Vacola, and Tom came to my home in California at the time, and he said, It's just you and me for these 2 days. I want you to tell me every story you can remember." He said, "Starting at birth, or if you go earlier than that, give me that one too." And I said, "Well, I saw a light at the end of the day." He said, "No, no, 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 no. Give me something I can relate to." So anyway, we started talking about my life, and he started filling out flip chart pages and wallpapered 2 rooms with them by the end of the 2 days. And then he went back and he circled the turning points and milestones over those 2 days, the imprint, and then summarized those. And then at the end of it, I'm going to grab something here. He presented me something that I've carried with me ever since. This is my travel backpack, my new briefcase. He gave me this little card. He said, "Jim, what's the purpose of your life?" And I said, "The word that comes to mind is fulfillment." He said, "What do you mean by that?" And I said, I believe the reason I exist is to allow the fulfillment of life through me to be a portal for life to emerge. And he said, let's put that in context, so because a seed is also a portal for life to emerge. So is a puppy, so is a tree. So, you can go on all day long. So what's the deal with you? And I said, well, years ago, I heard Mike Vance tell a story about the early days of his work with Walt Disney in Disneyland. He said Mike was the president of Disney University, the first one, the creator of it. And he and Walt were in Disneyland one morning and there was a gentle rain falling. And Mike had been standing under an awning as he saw Walt drive up. And Walt got out in the rain and said, Mike, it's raining. They're in Disneyland now. It's before it's opened, right? It's early at the park. And nobody's there but the two of them. And Mike said, yeah, it is. Come on, and he was motioning him to get under the awning. And Walt said, no, come on, Mike, let's walk in the rain. He said, rain's something you get out into. So they walk along through Disneyland, getting totally soaked and completely oblivious to it. And they're walking along Main Street and they stop in front of a store, one of those storefronts that's got the window that has like 12 or 15 panes to it, an old timey storefront window. And they're looking at the rain streak down the window. And Walt says to Mike, remember when you were a little kid sitting inside a window like that and looking out at the rain? Mike said, yeah. He said, do you remember what you were thinking about? And Mike said, yeah, I was thinking about what I would be and do when I grew up.
Mm.
And he said, you know what's nice, Mike? Now, this is Walt Disney talking. And Walt Disney, Beth, says to Mike, Mike, you know what's nice is to be grown-ups like we are, to remember the kid we were back then, and to know that we have become the person that he or she dreamed we would be.
That's rich.
And Mike said, wow. And Walt said, that's important. You know what it's called? No, it's called fulfillment. And it's something every human being seeks to achieve. He said,
Absolutely.
Mike, I hope you always have the kind of thinking that'll cause you to be the sort of person that as a child you hoped and dreamed someday you might become. Isn't that
Wow.
a beautiful story?
Powerful. Wow.
Powerful.
So powerful.
So there's my purpose statement.
Love that.
Fulfillment of life through me, through intelligent observation, vocal appreciation, being grateful, and full self expression, mental, physical, family, social, spiritual, career, financial, emotional. I inspire myself and others to live more courageously, more intelligently, and more joyfully so that we will have life and have it more abundantly.
Mm.
There you go.
Wow. That's such a gift that you gave yourself to pull all of that out and to make it succinct and unique for you to have that written up and carry with you. That's a gift. And that's so powerful what you said about fulfillment. Because in my coaching business, that's where people are stuck. They know there's more for them. And I try to take them back to the dreams you had as a child. And until social media or your parents or your friends told you couldn't do it, you dreamt with your heart.
Yeah.
And somewhere along the way, you got derailed
Ooh,
into getting back.
that one more Disney quote. A dream is a wish your heart makes when you're fast asleep. Right? Yeah, you can use that. There you go. That's public domain, but you got to cite your source.
I'm going to cite Disney and Jim Cathcart.
Mhm. Give it to Disney. Thank you.
My gosh, every Sunday night we sat and watched The Wonderful World of Disney. I used to sing that song.
The wonderful world of color, and then the peacock would. Oh,
Yes,
man, that was a powerful, part of my childhood imprinting.
yes, absolutely. I
Yeah.
remember son, we used to take our kids every other year to Disney World because we were in Chicago. That was
Yeah.
closer and it's a bigger park. There's more to do. And he used to say that he wanted to grow up and work at Disney and or he wanted to, I don't know, something like that. And my husband said, well, what are you going to do for money? And he said, well, I'll just go to the machine like you do. And then you press the buttons and then I'll be
Good.
fine.
Very good.
Yeah.
Exactly. What do you do for money? Get it out of the wall. Yeah.
You know, and I still think he would love to be working at Disney. So,
Well,
and
my
I,
son is 54 years old in a couple of weeks, and he's in the hospitality business. But when he was a little kid, we took him to Disneyland, and we lived in Southern California, so it wasn't that difficult to get to it. And he went there a couple of times during like high school, had their graduation night where all the kids pile on a bus and go to Disneyland. Um, After he got married and had kids, he bought annual passes, which is no small investment, and took
oh,
his two kids and his wife to Disneyland like 6 times, 10 times a year. So he could tell you Disneyland stories that are down to the granular DNA level observations because he's had so many experiences with it. But what's in common between the three of us, you, me, and him, is that all of us were inspired by the visions that came through one man,
mhm,
Walt Disney.
yeah.
It was there were visions of wholesomeness and hope and joy and generosity and facing your fears and challenges and the hero's journey story. Um, wow. One more quick story. I was president of the National Speakers Association in 1988 and 89, and one of our guest presenters at the annual convention in front of 2,000 plus professional speakers and authors was the famous Art Linkletter, who was
Oh,
famous through television, but also in many other modes. He had when I was a little kid, he had a TV show called People Are Funny. And we used to watch it all the time in Little Rock when I was growing up, me and my parents and my little sister. And then he had House Party and he had Kids Say the Darndest Things, which
I
was,
love that one.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that came from the interviews he did on the show House Party during the day. Well, anyway, Art Linkletter was the speaker. So here was a fellow professional speaker and he was on the program and I'm, one of the players in the game. And so we were backstage between presentations, and he was talking to a small gathering of us, 4 or 5. And he said, I used to take vacations with Walt Disney. And we all just went. He said, one time in the 50s, 1950s, we were in Tivoli Gardens in Copenhagen. And we're walking around this beautiful place. And I noticed Walt Disney was taking notes. And I said, Walt, what are you doing? He said, look at the twinkle lights in the trees. He said, yeah, they're beautiful. He said, no, none of them are burned out. And look at the benches. Yeah, they're nice benches. No, freshly painted. And the bathrooms are clean. And Linkletter said, why are you writing this down? He said, because Art, someday I'm going to build a place like this for families.
Wow.
Whoa.
Wow.
A dream is a wish your heart makes. And every day you have a chance and a choice.
Yes, indeed.
Wow. So
Wow.
I'm now a prospect for you. So I've encountered you at a conference or met you somewhere, or I heard you on this podcast, and I say, hey, I want more. I just, my vibe and yours are compatible. Help me grow. I want my life to be more complete, and I think you can help. Tell me about Beth Robins as the source for making my dreams come true.
Oh, well, you are making the dreams come true because you are the supreme authority on you. My job is to help you facilitate that.
Like that. I like
I'm going to out of the way. So Coaching wise, I have many programs that I can offer, and I go 12 weeks to VIP and everything in the middle. What works is, where are you? And we really get, we have a separate conversation outside of the conference or wherever we're
Yeah.
meeting. We really dig into the weeds about really beginning to dig deep and blueprint the life that you really love. And we have a wonderful thing we do called time machine. And you spin around left and you come around, and it's 3 years from today. And you run into me at the grocery store and you say, "Oh my gosh, Beth, you would not believe what's happened in the 3 years past." And you speak in the present tense and you start with, "I'm so happy and grateful now that I built that dream house in Colorado. And it's got a first floor with,"
Mhm.
and you go into detail on all the four quadrants of your life: your health and well-being, your time and money freedom, your vocation, what you do with your day, and your love and relationships. And you go into great massive detail describing to me your life. And that's the dream, and it's up here. And we identify where, frequency wise, we don't talk about the how. All we've established is, what would you love in your life?
Yeah.
What I do is give you the tools, the bridges to get through your fear paradigms and all the reasons that have kept you vibration, that's kept you stuck. And we build and we build and we build until now you're on this frequency of your dream. Well, wow, that was amazing. I got all these other dreams that came up. And the system that Mary's put together, it's proven, it's reliable, and it's repeatable.
I love
And and that's what's so beautiful, is that we could be partners in crime for the rest of your life. But the point is that you get the tools and you take you're the unique component that it's you. You have a unique blueprint. Of you, it's like your thumbprint.
it.
And ideas and dreams come to you. They're not coming to me and channeling into you. They're not coming to your next door neighbor or your wife. They're unique to you. And me stepping out of the way and realizing you are the supreme authority of that content. Um, we just build and build and build.
Well, the starting point with you is that what other people would call a discovery conversation, but it's where you want to give this person a safe place to communicate what some would call a fantasy, but you're probing to get a real, genuine, felt dream, a picture of a future reality that could be.
exactly.
And then using my terminology, you're guiding them back to a pathway that has a number of steps along the way so that life can fulfill itself through them. So they become a portal for that. And by the way, the dream is the indicator, the cosmic indicator, divine indicator that they are the portal.
Yes.
Emerson said, and it's interesting you talked about going to explore the Emerson roots. He said, desire is possibility seeking expression.
Exactly.
And I first heard that in the Wallace Wattles Science of Getting Rich book. But desire is possibility seeking to become real, seeking to be expressed. So if you have a desire, that means the possibility's in you. Doesn't
Exactly.
mean, oh no, I couldn't, yeah, I want that, but I'm not. No, no. You just told me by expressing that dream,
Yes.
you're the chosen one for
Yes.
that dream.
Are the chosen one. And the law of attraction is, you have that desire, you cast that desire out. You have to have the same intensity as the expectation of winning that, of achieving that.
Yeah,
And it's focused intention of the desire and expecting. And you, in between, live as that person who has already achieved it.
exactly. Earl Nightingale was my primary mentor, and I spent thousands of hours listening to Earl. I also had a chance to meet him, and I had a chance to be the only outside speaker at his memorial service with his widow, which was a life-altering moment for me. I mean, that was huge. and I still don't feel I was worthy, but I'm certainly grateful. But Earl Nightingale, his message boiled down to, he expressed it as you become what you think about, the strangest secret. But I articulate it differently. And this is my version of his message. Become the person who would achieve the goals. Become the person who would achieve the goals you want to achieve. And the goals are your natural byproduct. So
Yeah,
develop the qualities to be an eligible receiver. Get downfield and in the open so that they can throw you the ball. Have some skills so that you know what to do with it once you've caught it.
right.
And work on you to be a worthy vehicle or vessel or doorway or whatever you want to call it. And it becomes real through you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's all the same. And in my Elevate coaching, we study Wallace Wattles and Emerson and all of that. It's all part of the same thing, and we can articulate it in different ways, but the message is rich. It's become expect the win and become the person, uh, you know, on the
That's a
way.
key word. Expect to win. Now people say, "Oh, so I say, okay, I think I can." No, no. Start knowing that you can. That maybe you can't do whatever it is exceptionally well yet, but you could do the first step of it, and
That's
soon the second, third, and 17th steps of it. And then you'd get good at it, and you go through what I call the expert's progression. The expert's progression is from competent, just able to be in the game, to excellent, able to sit at the big kids' table with the real players and not feel out of place. Expert, which means the others look to you occasionally and say, what do you think? Right? Leading authority, so they're quoting you. Celebrity, so that they're not only quoting you, but everybody knows your name. Or star. Choose your level of aspiration and then start acquiring the qualities that allow you to rise to that level. In my family, there's an ancient, I'm going to show you a graphic here. Ancient statement. This is on my guitar strap. It's a badge that says, I don't think you can see it, but it says, I hope to speed. I hope to speed is the Cathcart family motto from like the 1500s or something. Now,
deep.
if you think about this, it's an ancient Scottish statement, I hope to speed. What did speed mean back before automobiles? Did it mean go fast on a horse? No, it meant to prosper. So if you look up ancient, the archaic definition of the word speed, it was to prosper. All right. Now you've got a second word, hope. Well, most people think, boy, I hope we don't get stuck in traffic. Boy, I hope we can afford it. I hope. No, that's hoping against.
Exactly.
Hoping for is expressing expectation. There's hope. Look, there's a light up ahead. There's hope. We're going to be saved. Look, there's an opening in traffic we can get through. So hope is expecting. Now, if you expect something good's going to happen, what feeling goes with the hope? Gratitude, which takes us right back to where you started
Yeah.
in this conversation. So if you expect to succeed, feel the gratitude, allow it. Say, okay, I don't see the path, but this is right for me. The dream is clear. I'm going to make it happen somehow. Man, I'm grateful for that. And all of a sudden, obstacles become more easy to get past and new
Yeah.
realities show up and life is beautiful.
Wayne Dyer just came to mind. I'll see it when I believe it.
That's right. I'll see it after I have cultivated the belief,
Mhm.
not I'll believe it when I see it, which is the skeptic's point of view. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's beautiful. Well, you're making life bigger and better for other people every day. I can tell it just from the nature of this dialogue.
Thank you. I've waited so long that I just want to explode. I always say I have so much love in me to give, and if I could if I could coach the world for free, I would. I just
Yeah,
see so much potential, and it's funny that now that I've gone through my journey and gone through the coaching and how deeply I'm embedded in it, I see people differently. I look in every person's eyes and I see that spiritual being. I don't see anything else than the soul to soul connection. And I think there's been parts of me and parts of my life where I've felt that, where I've had feelings where I've met somebody and had that deja vu, like we've met somewhere before. There's
mhm,
some kind of soul connection.
yeah,
And then I would put it aside. And now I'm like, no, come to mama.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like,
Get in.
Emily,
Wow,
yeah.
that's beautiful, beautiful. Well, how do people reach you? What's the easiest way to get in touch with you?
I have a great website. It's balancedlifeproductions.com. And so it's BALANCED life production,
BalancedLifeProductions.com.
producing beautiful souls every day.
That's beautiful. Beautiful. Well, I look forward to seeing you in Santa Barbara soon at
No,
the
I can't
Professional
wait.
Expert Summit. Yes,
I cannot wait to meet you actually face to face.
tremendous. Well, thank you for stepping up and becoming a certified professional expert.
Thank you.
You definitely fit the family, the
Thank
vibe. You've got the DNA.
you.
Marvelous. Well, thank you, Beth. Folks, you've been getting to know Beth Robins, and I suggest you keep building on that. Get to know her well. BalancedLifeProductions.com. Write it down now so you don't forget it, and then go check it out. Uh, when I was first introduced to Beth, I told her a little bit about the Professional Expert Summit. She said, "I'm in." She hit that buy now button in her head like in the first minute or two. And it's clear when she knows something is right, she takes action on it. And if you feel like you've got that vibe with Beth, take action on it. This is somebody you want to know. Even if you don't do business together, connect so the communication can flow because more life is looking to be expressed through each of us. Let's let it happen.